All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. We are in the last month of the second quarter and third quarter. Don't put me in the game. I don't even know what quarter it is. We're in the last month of the third quarter, and you know what this is? This is when we win the game. What you do now is what's going to set you up for success in the fourth quarter. What you do in September is what's going to set you up for success in the fourth quarter. So I want to talk to you about three things today, and all focused around lead generation. We're going to start with a conversation we've had many, many times. So repetition is the mother of learning. Hopefully you won't get upset with me. All right. Everything to the left of this line is lead generation. Now, we want to build a lead generation model that is prospecting based and marketing enhanced. What does that mean? We want to build a lead generation business that's based on us making outgoing calls, knocking on doors, networking, and going out and finding business versus waiting for business to find us. Now, it doesn't mean that marketing doesn't work, because it does. Now, if you're gonna rely on marketing, just understand one thing: you're gonna need a lot of leads, and we're gonna talk about quantity over quality here in just a few minutes. And you're gonna need a lot of leads in order to be able to get the results that you want, because according to the National Association of Realtors, the average conversion ratio on incoming marketing leads, regardless of the source, is about 1 to 2%. Now, am I being negative on incoming marketing leads? Not at all. No. If you want to close 2 sales a month from marketing, just make sure you're getting 100 leads, and make sure you know how to respond to those leads, how to nurture those leads in order to create opportunity. All right, by the way, that's part of this conversation, because marketing is part of lead generation. Now, the other source of lead generation is repeat and referral business. We're going to talk about that today as well. Now, when we're in lead generation, we are creating new leads. Now, there's this other space way over here on the right. That dotted line represents emotional proximity. That's the point in which we know that the buyer or seller gets serious about buying a home or serious about selling their home. And all of this space in between is follow-up. Now, the reason most real estate agents don't get the results they want is because they're not doing this effectively, or they're not doing it all, or they do it for a little while and then they give up. Now, in order to do it effectively, you're going to need a system, because you're going to have lots of leads. You're going to have a lot of people in your in your pipeline, and you're going to need a system for this. And in other words, a CRM or a database. Now, in the positioning battle written by Al Ries and Jack Trout, we talks about the human mind as an inadequate container. In other words, there's only so much that can go up here. Now, if you ask the average person to name a soda, for example, Diet Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper. You know, it's interesting, the only Diet Coke is the only one out of that group that I drink. So that's why it was first. Now, ask somebody if they know a good real estate agent. The average consumer knows maybe 1 or 2 real estate agents, or they have space in their head for maybe 1 or 2 real estate agents. Now, what you want to do in order to build an effective real estate business that's going to give you an unfair advantage is you want to really focus in on this. So I'm going to slow down just for a bit, and we're going to talk about building your database. I didn't change the conversation, by the way. We're still here. We're still here. This is one of the tools that we're going to use in order to follow up, in order to create emotional proximity. Now, let's say that you had a goal of closing 32 sales a year. Now, you can call for sell by owners and expireds, and you can go on appointments and get listings, and that works. And you can circle prospect, and that works. And you can market for those incoming leads. By the way, You could do the math. If 100% of them were going to be from incoming leads, if the conversion ratio is 2%, how many leads would you need in order to close 32 sales? I'm not going to stop and do the math. You guys do it. Now, my number is 200. It's 200 to close 32 sales if my business is coming from here. If my business is coming from my database, I'll prove it. All right, that's a pipeline. That looks a lot better than it used to. It used to look like an acorn. So at least it's looking a little bit more like a pipeline now. Now, there are roughly 83 million homeowners in the United States. 83 million. Now, we are tracking roughly 4.3 million home sales in 2023. Now, you could do the math. Just take 4.3 million divided by 83 million and see what the percentage is. Somebody do that for me and just holler it out. Okay, it's going to be somewhere between 4 and 6%. That's the percentage of your database that's moving in 2023. Now, on average, if you look at every year, the national average is about 5 to 7% on average, meaning about 5 to 7% of the US population moves every 12 months. Now, where do you think most real estate agents focus their effort? Where are they focused? Are they focused on the 83 million homeowners, or are they focused on the 4.3 million homes sold that are going to be sold in 2023? Beth, did you get that number for me? I can tell, it looks like you might have. I can't see that. You have to take yourself off mute and talk to me.
19 million?
No. Take 4.3 million homes sold divided by 83 million homes.
5.2.
5.2.
You get it?
No,
Okay.
you got it.
Thank you.
All right. So that means 5.2% of your database is going to move in the next 12 months.
Thank you. Please
Please write that down. 5.2% of your database is going to move in the next 12 months. Now, whether or not they work with you or not, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay. The answer to the question that I asked, by the way, where are most people focusing their efforts? Right here on the 4.3 million homes that are being sold. Most real estate agents are chasing the bottom of the funnel when they should be building relationships with the top of the funnel. You want to write something down? Build relationships with the top of the funnel and quit chasing sales at the bottom of the funnel. All right, back to our database. And we have this group of people out here called haven't mets, meaning we have not met them yet. Now, you meet them at a networking event, or you meet them because you're making phone calls or knocking on doors, or you meet them at the grocery store. Hi, my name is John Dietz. I'm a real estate agent with Blink Real Estate Company, and I like to keep my friends and family members updated on the market. That simply means that I send them interesting information on the real estate market once a month, and I call every 3 or 4 months just to check in. Would it be okay if I added you to that group? And if you ask that question to enough people today, somebody's going to say yes. I promise you, and promise you. Somebody is going to say yes, which means you've added a Met to your database. Now, do that every day, work 50 weeks, 5 days a week. You've added 250 people to your database. Now, you launch an 8x8 campaign on those 250 people. As you're entering them into your database, you're going to communicate with them once a week for the next 8 weeks in order to do what? In order to create top of mind. Remember, we only have room for 1 or 2 real estate agents in our mind, and you want to be the one or you want to be one of the 2. So you're going to communicate with them once every week for 8 weeks in order to create top of mind. So when they think of real estate, they think of you. Now, on the 8th week, I want you to ask them a simple question. Charlene, if you knew of somebody that was going to buy a home or sell a home, or if you were going to sell your home, would you potentially, possibly work with me? Charlene says yes. Now, if you ask them, would you work with me? You're going to get, I don't know. Or you're going to get maybe an answer you don't want. The question is, would you potentially work with me? In other words, would you at least interview me for the job? Now, most people are going to say yes to that, but let's just say it's only 200. Let's say that you've got 200 people that said yes. That means you now have 200 people in your database that are sphere of influence. These are people who know you. They like you because you've built a relationship with them. You're going to continue to build a relationship with them because you're going to communicate with them 36 times using a 36 touch campaign. You're going to call once every 3 months and have a care call conversation with them. Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. You're bringing value to every relationship. You are the local economist of choice. So you are providing valuable information on the local real estate market. They tune into Beth.com in order to learn everything there is to learn about real estate in the Tampa Bay market. Okay, you're that valuable to them. Now it's time for them to sell. They're one of the 5.2% who are going to sell. Who are they going to call? You. The National Association of Realtors says 76% of all sellers contacted only one agent. 76% of all sellers contacted one agent. Who do you think it is? Well, the person who's creating emotional proximity by communicating effectively, bringing value to those conversations in a systematic way in order to create emotional proximity. So when they reach that point, you've got the job. All right, we're only halfway there. Now listen to me, 5.2% are going to move in the next 12 months. 5.2% are going to give you a referral. Now you could do the math. That's 32 sales on 200 people. And you didn't pay a dime for leads. One of the things, this is one of the best real estate books ever written. Just to show you how broker agnostic I am on this call, because this is not my company. This is another company. This book, written by Gary Keller, one of the best real estate books ever written. And one of the things Gary said in this book, and this book was written back in 2003. I mean, it was Gary, it was a game changer for Keller Williams at the time. And what he says in this book is your database is your business is your database. Your database is your business is your database. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. I want you to go back to this. I want you to go back to this. When you've created a database of 200 people, now, by the way, that was in 1 year. Do it the next year, now you have 400. And that 32 sales becomes 64 sales. And you're adding a new group to this because now you have past clients. So you have 32 past clients after the first year that you are communicating with, you're bringing value to because they're clients for life. Because they're clients for life. And some of these are going to become raving fans. Ken Blanchard wrote the book. Read it. It's a good book. And you've got raving fans here in the middle. Those are your core advocates. Those are the people who are sending you 2-3 referrals a year. So in year 2, you're doing 64 sales and so on and so on and so on. And you didn't pay one dime for one lead. Here's why. Because when these 200 people think of real estate, they're not jumping on Realtor.com and Zillow, they're calling you. When these 200 people know somebody who's going to buy or sell a home and you're calling them and you're adding value to them and you ask them, hey, by the way, who do you know that's thinking of selling their home in the next 6 months? You've earned the right to ask that question or make a withdrawal because you've made lots and lots and lots and lots of deposits. This is the advantage that you have over Zillow, that you have over Realtor.com, that you have over all of these companies that are relying on these aggregators in order to run their real estate businesses. You're the only one who can build a relationship with me. You're the only one who can do it. Zillow can't do it. Realtor.com can't do it. You can. So that I will never work with anybody but you. Now, I'm going to close with this. It's going to blow your mind. Everything I said is fact. Is a fact. And yet, most real estate agents, what's most? By the way, 51% is most, 52% is most. So when I'm saying most, I don't mean 51 or 52%. I mean 90% plus don't even have a database. Not only are they not working it, they don't have one. Even though everything I said is 100% fact. So what does that say? Well, if I'm you, I'm hearing opportunity. I'm hearing, well, they may not, but I will. I do. And this is why. All right, guys, talk to me.
Hey, John, it's Steve.
Steve.
My camera is having some problems. Let's say you were to start from scratch, and I'm not saying I'm there. I'm just curious, how long do you feel it would take? It'd take about a year to get 200 good people in the database. If you're working, like you say, you're adding, let's say maybe one a day, 50 weeks a year. Is that correct? When you're all said and done?
Yes, sir.
To the sphere.
Yes. Okay. So it would take you a year to get 200 people in your database if you had 0 today. Now, you can get there in half the time, or you can have twice the database if you put 2 new contacts in your database every day. Let's define good. Good is anybody that you know who knows you, and you have all of their information. That makes them a lead. You have their name, their phone number, their email address, their mailing address, and they want to receive real estate information from you. They agree to be a part of your friends and family group, and you are providing value for them and building relationship.
So with those people, so those 250 METs, you say that those would go on an 8x8?
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And it sounds overwhelming. It's really not, because remember, you're doing 1 a day. You're launching 1 new 8x8 every day. At the end of the week, you have 5. You set it up so that most of it is set it and forget it, meaning that a lot of these touches aren't you actually doing the work. The system is doing the work. Don't get hung up in the details, guys. You hear me? Don't get hung up in the details. You don't have to have a perfect 8x8 for this to work. All right, make a phone call, send a handwritten personal note. Send them a market update. There's 3 things that you can do right now in order, 3 out of your 8. Okay. Now I could duplicate that 3 times. Make a phone call, send a handwritten note, send a market update. I wouldn't, but I could. Who's next?
John, I just everything you're saying was awesome. Everything. And what comes up for me is, why is it so challenging for real estate agents to do this? That has always blown my mind, to be honest. And I'm just blown away. Why I'm blown away. I don't really know what to say.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one, Nathan. You're not the only one. I'm telling you guys, I am telling you that you can own the real estate. I'm talking to 1.5 million real estate agents right now. 1.5 million real estate agents. You could put Realtor.com, Zillow out of business if you guys would get your act together and work your relationships.
You know, John, I also think that because you know, all lasting change starts from the inside and works its way out. And I think that that has a lot to do with the challenge of people wanting to do this because they have to change.
Mhm.
But change is good. I mean, you know, if some of the people on my call right now, if you know, they have seen my growth, and then before I got in this business, I was a mess.
Mhm.
I'm still a work in progress, but
We all are.
right. But I was personally, my personal life was a complete mess
Mm.
until I decided to really look at myself in the mirror and really start making some changes internally.
There it is. Guys, I want you to hear what Nathan said. Where does change start?
Internally. It starts inside.
Mm.